My wife said, "You'll never prove I cheated. I'll take the house, the kids, everything." I just smiled calmly and said, "We'll see." The next day, I sent her an envelope. Now her lawyer won't stop calling mine, and she still hasn't opened the last page inside that envelope. I'm 35 years old. Until 3 weeks ago, I was a boring, middle management guy in a mid-sized engineering firm, married to Sarah, 34, a woman who, I thought, was my partner in building a comfortable, stable life. We had 2 kids, a mortgage on a beautiful house in the suburbs, and a joint savings account that was finally, gloriously, topping 6 figures. Stability was my whole identity. That's what made her confession so devastating. Not the words, but how easily she tried to shatter my entire reality. It happened late on a Friday. We were arguing about a strange $450 charge on the joint credit card for a weekend trip to a nearby city. I'd casually asked her about it, expecting a simple explanation, but her immediate, defensive anger told me everything. "What do you mean? What was it for, Mark? Are you auditing me now? It was a girls' weekend, okay? Why are you always so paranoid about money?" "I'm not paranoid, Sarah. We agreed on anything over $100. Besides, your friend Lisa told me she was home that weekend nursing a flu. So who exactly was on this girls' weekend with you?" She froze. The blood drained from her face, replaced instantly by rage. She knew she was caught. She didn't deny it. She went straight to offense. "Fine. You want the truth? You're boring, Mark. Pathetically boring. And yes, I'm done. I'm filing for divorce." I felt the air leave my lungs. Divorce? Because I asked about a $450 charge? Who was it, Sarah? She crossed her arms, a smug, venomous look replacing the panic. "Doesn't matter. You'll never prove I cheated. It was smart. It was discreet. And here's the best part. I'll take the house, the kids, everything. You want to fight? Fine. I'll ruin you. I'll call my lawyer Monday, and I'll make sure you're just the weekend dad paying huge alimony checks." She meant every word. She was the stay-at-home mom, painting me as the emotionally distant provider. She thought she had the system rigged. I looked her dead in the eye, and somehow, the sheer scale of her toxicity and betrayal made me unnervingly calm. I just smiled calmly and said, "We'll see." I went straight to the guest room and locked the door. I didn't get angry. I got surgical. I spent the next 12 hours compiling every piece of financial, legal, and conversational evidence I had. Sarah thought she was smart because she wiped her phone clean. She forgot I ran the business and managed the digital side of our lives. Update 1. The financial thread: Sarah's one-day affair trip was sloppy. She used the joint credit card, assuming I wouldn't check. But the hotel bill was the least of her problems. Over the last 18 months, Sarah had been pressuring me to sell off $80,000 worth of stock I had inherited from my father, my only separate asset, to pay for house renovations. I loved the house, so I agreed, gradually selling the shares and depositing the money into our joint bank account. What she didn't know was that while I kept the stock liquidation records, I also tracked where that money went. The $80,000 had indeed gone into renovations, but not the ones she claimed. I found 4 large wire transfers over the last year, totaling $65,000, all labeled cryptically: family gift, investment, debt repayment. They were sent to an LLC based 3 states away, a company whose name I recognized from her private email notifications she often left open on our shared iPad. The LLC belonged to Rick, her gym trainer, a man 10 years younger than her with a bad history of lawsuits for investment scams. Sarah wasn't renovating the house. She was financing her side piece's failing business, hoping for a return that would let her walk away rich. The cheating wasn't just physical. It was financial betrayal on a massive scale. I finished compiling the packet at 8 a.m. on Saturday. It was 40 pages long. I printed 2 copies, one for my lawyer and one for Sarah. The next day, I sent her an envelope. I hired a process server, a professional service, to deliver the package to her on Sunday afternoon while she was watching a movie with the kids. I wanted that moment of public panic. Update 2. The lawyer's panic: Monday morning. I was in my lawyer's office, feeling like a character in a bad movie. Mr. Chun, my attorney, a calm, 60-year-old shark, reviewed my packet. "Mark, this is thorough. The financial trail is clean. We have clear evidence of misappropriation of joint funds, using your inheritance for the direct financial benefit of an unrelated third party. The wire transfers to the LLC owned by Richard Davies are indisputable. This shifts the entire divorce dynamic. The phone rang on his desk. Mr. Chen looked at the caller ID and smirked. Speak of the devil. It's Pamela, Sarah's lawyer. He put her on speaker. Her voice was shrill. Chen, what the hell is going on? My client received some insane, threatening document package yesterday. What is this extortion? Mr. Chen remained calm. Good morning, Pamela. That document package is called Discovery. It outlines the specific financial claims we will be making, specifically regarding the $65,000 in marital funds your client secretly funneled to Mr. Richard Davies's LLC. We've also included the credit card statement for the hotel room Mr. Davies and your client shared last Friday. Before we discuss alimony, we should discuss criminal fraud and theft of marital assets. A long, dead silence followed. Then Pamela hissed. Where did you get that information, Chun? I warned Sarah to clean up her tracks. My client, Chun replied, looking straight at me, is meticulous. The financial paper trail is a very powerful thing, Pamela. You might want to review the entire package before your client makes any further public statements. Good day. He hung up. He looked at me and said, she'll be calling back in an hour begging for mediation. Sarah is panicking because she realized I didn't use the word cheating. I used fraud. That changes everything. And just like Mr. Chun predicted, her lawyer won't stop calling mine. The calls, however, were getting less hostile and more desperate. Update 3. The missing page. I learned from Mr. Chun that Sarah was officially served with divorce papers, citing irreconcilable differences, the clean legal term, but backed by my financial evidence. She was fighting on every front, demanding I pay for her car, demanding half my retirement, and claiming she needed the house for the kids. Standard toxic divorce stuff. But the one thing that obsessed me was that envelope. The original packet I sent her contained 39 pages of financial documents, wire transfer proofs, and hotel statements. But the 40th page was different. It was a single sheet of paper, a printout of a document I had found months ago and never acted on. I instructed the process server to place that one page at the very bottom, folded slightly. Mr. Chun informed me that Sarah was fixated on the wire transfer documents and Rick's LLC. She kept claiming the $65,000 was a personal loan, completely missing the biggest bombshell. I was getting tired of the fighting. I wanted this over. Mr. Chun, I asked him during a call, did Sarah mention the last page of the envelope? The last page? No, Mark. She's only focused on the $65,000 theft. Why? What's on the last page? Tell Pamela you have one final, non-negotiable term for mediation. Sarah gets $15,000 immediately. She walks away from the house, the retirement, and all alimony claims, and she signs a full custody agreement for the kids with generous visitation rights. If she accepts, the case is settled quietly. If she refuses, I will release the final page of that envelope to the court and the local media. Chen raised an eyebrow. Media? You sound like you're holding a bomb, Mark. What is it? It's not financial. It's personal. And she still hasn't opened the last page inside that envelope. Final update. The unopened bomb. The threat worked instantly. Pamela called Chun back within the hour. She was frantic, no longer demanding but pleading. Chun, what does your client have? He's acting unhinged. Sarah is terrified. What is on this last page? Chun, following my script, simply said, my client maintains that the final page of that document package is entirely relevant to her moral fitness as a custodial parent and will, in his opinion, end her career and any custody claim permanently. Accept the terms, Pamela, or face the consequences. Sarah signed the agreement 2 days later. The terms were exactly as I dictated. She took a single $15,000 payout, gave up all claims to the house, retirement, and alimony, and agreed to supervised visitation with the children. She just wanted the thread of the final page gone. She settled for virtually nothing. 3 months later, the divorce is final. Sarah moved to the city, struggling to find work. Her reputation in our small community ruined not by my words, but by the financial filings I made public in the court. She thinks I had some damning photo of her with Rick on that last page. The truth? The truth is that several months ago, when Sarah was pressuring me to sell the last of my inherited stock, I started quietly reading up on my legal options. That last page, the one that terrified her so much she signed away everything, wasn't a secret photo or a confession. It was a printed-out copy of the State Bar Association's definition of marital abandonment and financial fraud, highlighted with her initials and a small, handwritten note from me at the bottom. The note simply said, "I prepared for this, just like you did." She signed everything away based on the fear of a hidden truth. She was so consumed by her own guilt and paranoia that she never dared to open the last page, believing the silence was more devastating than any photograph. I realize now that her biggest weakness wasn't Rick or the money. It was her own toxic, guilty conscience. She lost everything, not because of what I proved, but because of what she assumed I could prove. I'm moving on with the kids and the house. It's calm now. I'm the weekend dad. Yes, but only because I choose to take them on weekend adventures, not because a judge made me. I survived her worst. Edit 1. The kids are doing great. They see their mom, but they are thriving with the stability I provide. They believe she moved for a job opportunity, and that the divorce was amicable. We kept the lie for their sake. Edit 2. Rick's LLC was just served with a lawsuit from my attorney to recover the $65,000. Sarah may have moved on, but her financial messes just followed her.